want to introduce one of the councilmen here, have a brief communication, and we'll get ready for the selection.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I'm best known these days as a brother Jim. We have a whole host of other titles. But I do want you to know about how political things are going on. Is there anyone in here that's 16 or will be 16? Okay. I say that because Newark Public Schools has had a Board of Education election the last 2 years, and people are not coming out. Last year, in 2025, 70 kids voted. This year, 35 kids voted. Now, I was not teaching for 30 years, and coaching 35 years, the kids used to always tell me, this school is poor. Well, one of the ways you can make sure it's not poor is for you young folks who need to be 16 to vote. Now, I'm not here to talk about that right now. As far as what the Muslim League of Voters does, we want to educate people as much as possible about what is going on. So throughout this event today, we will have several people that are running for office. Now, I was one of the first Muslims elected in the United States back in, well, over 30 years ago, 1993. But there's a lot more now. But I want to introduce you to someone that is running for council person at large. And what that means, he will represent, if he wins, the entire city of Newark. So someone on Broadway has an issue, they can be able to call him. Someone on Clinton Avenue, they'll be able to call him. Because that's what an at-large person does. So without me saying anything, I'm going to bring him up. We are going to bring up Yusef Shabazz. He's running for council. First thing he's going to do, he can tell you about himself.
My name is Yusef Shabazz. I was born and raised in the city of Newark. I'm a native son, educated in the school system of Harlem. And went to college, studied various courses. The reason I decided to run for councilman at large here in Newark is because I had issues myself that was affected, and I have helped older individuals in a position to represent me, and I wasn't getting proper help from them. So I decided to throw my hat in the arena to run for councilman at large when it came around. And I met the criteria to be on the list, or to be on the ballot. I was invited here to speak on that nature. At the same token, I would like to have the support of the council, of those that are eligible to vote, because the issues that I would like to address is senior service, housing, domestic violence, mentally and physically, mental health, substance abuse, and education. On that type of there's various aspects in that need to be fulfilled. At the same token, we as Muslim citizens or who is underrepresented in the council or in the administration of Newark, and not get proper help. Those homeowners, they're here and they're being spread in certain cities where they're not getting the support they need. And I would like to go in there to be a team player to help them get the help that they need. Basically, I like to be short and brief. I'm about the work that is being taught. So I'm working on supporting my example that I exemplify. I was listen for this education is important enough that is the key to success, and it will help you get to where you need to be. But most important, for you young brothers and sisters out there, don't worry about how your people see you or kids that you socialize in the street, because the consequences that you subject yourself to can be very harmful. You don't go doing anything to pray for the acceptance or do things that look for social acceptance. Be yourself, be content with yourself. The Muslim is supposed to display a different type of behavior, the best at all times. And sometimes maybe that can be, you can feel lonely behind the fact you don't think you feel as though your friends didn't accept you. Don't do that, because you find yourself on the wrong path. Listen to your parents, respect your parents. The day the kid, I'm not saying time the police will come to the community if the situation is at hand. First of all, public safety starts in the house and in the community where you have address certain issues that need to be attacked appropriately without causing harm. Communication is very important, but that's what we lack as neighbors, friends. We don't know someone who's going to even know our neighbors. We don't communicate with them. So when something goes off, the first thing we do is look at it in a negative way. I ain't talking to them, I ain't socializing. You need open communication. Communication is important. And staff is understand that the same token.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shabazz. In general, how do we help the Muslim community?
But me being Muslim, and the best of my ability, you know, I want to read my Holy Quran and Tab, it says, Allah has us arranged and ranked, so I can be the best one that I can be. But at the same time, helping the Muslim community is just doing the right thing. Whatever they need to be done, and I'm in a position to support and aid, I will do that.
And lastly, sir, in closing, can you leave us with a few kind words, especially since you are running and just in general?
Well, I would like to say to the younger generation, we are underrepresented out here. Sometimes, like I said, we being Muslim, we worry about how other people see us. We're unique. We're the best that best creatures that Allah has created for mankind. So we have to really step up and represent ourselves. You in school, you can know the things that you need that's going to be beneficial to help you thrive, strive, and survive out there in society. You know, and it's not hard. All you got to do is have some patience, have some suffering. Don't worry about how the people see you. Don't be oppressing your parents. Listen to them.
Thank you very much. Now, I told you that was a person who's running for council person at large. We also have with us someone that is already in office. I think she had 4 elections in 2025. I know it was at least 3, right? So right back up on her again. And that is Sister Amina Bey. She currently representing Newark Central Ward. I know she's running, so I'm going to bring her up. We're going to ask her a couple questions. First thing you can do, Sister Amina, is tell everybody what you've done.
Okay, so there you go. As Brother Chief said, my name is Amina Bey. I am currently the councilman for the Central Ward here in the city of Newark. I've been in office a whole 4 months. I was elected during a special election in November 2025 when our now Congresswoman left as the council president and the Central Ward council person, and she left to fill the seat left vacant by the late Congressman Donald Payne Jr. when he passed away in April of 2024. So I've literally been running for office for 2 years, maybe will be 2 years. So it's been a year and a half getting elected, and then 4 months later, I'm running again. So I also serve as the executive director of Newark Emergency Services for Families. I've spent the past 7 years there serving the unhoused population here in the city of Newark and all of Essex County, helping people with rental assistance, food assistance, because food security and housing security are very serious issues, not only here in New York, but all over the country, really. And before that, I was the executive director of the Newark Workforce Development Board for the city of Newark, helping to lower the unemployment rate for the 5 years that I was there from 2014 to 2019 from 11.7%. In 2014 when I took office down to 5.8% when I left office. And before then, I managed all of the employment and training programs for the county of Essex and created the Essex County Youth Program that is still in existence today, 20 years later. So I've been in the community my whole life, worked with my mother to establish women wisdom, and we've done a lot of civic association, a lot of community engagement through that organization, help register so many people to vote, and work a lot with youth in the community. So that's a little snippet of me.
All right, thank you, Sister Amina. Just as I asked, that pick one topic, public service, public safety, education, senior citizens, community concerns. Tell us a little bit about how you would work or are working in your case to improve that.
Well, one of the main things for me is the senior citizens, because in the Central Ward, there are 17 senior citizen buildings, just in the Central Ward. That's, we're not even talking about the seniors that live independently in different homes and apartment buildings. And so making sure that the seniors are really taken care of is a priority, because they are the majority of my ward. What I saw and what was one of the things that really drove me to this work was during the pandemic, when the world was shut down, the senior citizens who depend on home health aides and family members and friends to help them out didn't have that support, because everybody was locked down, no one could go anywhere, you couldn't get into the buildings. But because of the work that I do with local emergency services for families, I was able to do that. So one of the things that we've started to do is create wellness check schedules for our senior citizens. And again, not just the ones in the senior buildings, but people that live independently, because a lot of times our seniors are isolated, especially if they're not mobile, they're not able to get around independently. And so they need that check-in. They need someone to check in on them, to give them a call and see, make sure they're taking their medicine, see if they need a ride to the doctor, to make sure that they have food in the refrigerator. If they're able to cook, some of them depend on Meals on Wheels and other programs like that. So to do those check-ins so they don't feel isolated, they don't feel alone, and that they know that people care for them, because again, they become a forgotten part of our population, and we can't have that.
And how will you work to help the Muslim community?
Well, what I've done, started and being blessed to be the first and only Muslim on the Newark Municipal Council in this whole entire history, to make sure that the Muslim community has been brought to the forefront and not an afterthought, not only in Newark, but everywhere that we go, because again, Newark is the largest city in the state of New Jersey, and so wherever New Jersey goes, Newark goes first. And so to make sure that not only that the Muslim community is put into the spotlight in a positive way, and not as an afterthought, but also to promote the programs and services that happen within the Muslim community, and make sure that we receive the proper support that we need in order to move our community forward, because that's not always the case. You know, and I've said this multiple times, and I know you've heard it, is that you can't get elected door catcher unless you go to certain churches in this city or anywhere. You know, but people don't believe that that's not true for the Muslim community. The Muslim community has the numbers and has the power to be able to garner that type of respect and support. But we have to promote ourselves, and we have to exercise and stand in our own power. So part of what I want to do for the Muslim community is to make sure that we know and understand the power that we have, and that we can exercise it and move it to make sure that we get what we need to build our community up. Not to be separate and apart, but to be not to be separate, but to be a part of, and to be ingrained in the community in a way that uplifts us, not separates us.
And lastly, just leave us a few kind words.
A few kind words. The kindest words that I can say is that, you know, we are looked at in a way that I don't think that we realize how much influence and impact that we have had in society over the decades. You know, everybody from how people, what they name their children, how they eat, how they dress, how they promote themselves. Like, the Muslim community has so much influence. And so we need to really kind of revel in that and stand in that, because that's a big deal. The social impact that we have, that we need to make sure that we understand the power that we have as a people, and be proud of that. Yes.
This is not about local politics, I just have a question. Just from what you're saying, how is technology like impacting the future of elections and things like that.
And technology is impacting the future of elections, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. We need to know how to use it, just like anything else. Anything that we have can be used positively or negatively, but we need to not be afraid of it. And I think that's part of what's happening is that we find ourselves behind because we become afraid of what's new and what's innovative. And so we need to learn about how we utilize technology for our benefit and how to make sure that we get our message out, whatever that message may be, to make sure that we get it out. But I think that technology is, if we don't learn how to use it properly, we're going to be left behind.
Thank you. And I just want to kind of answer a quick question. One could be it's a national thing called mobile vote. There's 32 states that now have direct encryption devices, so you can vote on your phone. It's getting through to the politicians. Like the one here in New Jersey, he's a tough character. I'm going to get through to him so we can have that. That's probably why one of the reasons why the kids in Newark don't vote like they should too. 35 kids, less than less.
Yeah, it was 45. It was 45 students that voted in this past school board election. Last year it was 73. So the fact that the numbers went down is our fault. And when I say our fault, I mean our fault, elected officials, our fault, adults, our fault, parents. Because guess what? Those children have parents. And the children that were registered to vote, they have parents. So the question is, did the parents vote? Did the parents vote? And so we have a responsibility to make sure that we educate our children on what it means to be civically engaged and what politics are. We always talk about how politics are local, but it's not local if we don't teach our children about it. And then when you talk about technology, part of what it is that I'm saying this from the beginning, brothers and sisters, we have to collect the data. We have to collect data. That's where the power is. Every other group, they're able to go into a database and pull out, and they know how many of their people are voting in this area, that area, and that's how they mobilize, and that's how they move issues back and forth. We have the numbers. We can do it. We just got to organize ourselves and work together. So inshallah, we'll be able to do that. We really
Thank you very, very much. Brother, thank you. We do have a couple more politicians that should be with us.
Thank you. We're going to take a group picture. I'd also like to join us our partners as well as our family members. Also, I just wanted to thank Sister Amina Bey, Councilman Amina Bey, specifically because she was also the sponsor for Muslim Youth Day at City Hall. Raising the American Muslim flag. It's very important that we all take our picture. We're going to make a call for prayer, make room for those who are praying. And I know our students may have to leave. For those who are sticking around, we have a few more presentations. We also have a light lunch, inshallah, for those who are sticking around.
And for our students, it's the same as every Sunday. You do have your snack bags here, so before you go, make sure you grab your bag. If you haven't signed in, make sure you sign in. I think I have everyone's picture.
So those students who want to take a picture, you're welcome. I know some of us come over. Everybody will take pictures. For those who can't, come join us.